On the shining planet of Viridia, where the skies glimmered in purple and silver, young aliens gathered for the yearly selection ceremony. This was a time when the strongest and bravest were chosen to join the Interworld Alliance, a force that protected countless worlds. Every alien child hoped to be chosen, to stand among the heroes. Among the crowd stood Lyra, a silver-skinned girl with hair like soft starlight. Her eyes, a deep violet, watched silently as others stepped forward, but her leg, twisted slightly from birth, made her slower than the others. She had practiced for years, tried harder than anyone, yet today she feared what everyone whispered behind her back. She is weak. She will never be chosen. The ceremony began. The council of elite aliens, tall and armored, looked down at the hopefuls. One by one, the strongest were called. Lyra watched her classmates, her stomach twisting with hope and fear. Every cheer felt like a punch to her heart, and then she waited. And waited. Minutes passed. The council called out names after names until there was only one left. Her. The crowd quieted, the air tense with anticipation. Lyra, the council leader finally said, his voice cold and sharp. Step forward, she did. Her heart pounded, but not with hope. The leader's eyes scanned her body, then his lips curled into a smirk. I am ready, she said softly, her voice trembling. The leader shook his head. You will not be chosen. You are not strong enough. A gasp spread through the crowd. Lyra's legs felt like lead. Her chest tightened and her throat burned. She wanted to cry, but tears would be seen as weakness. The whispers began louder now. Useless. Pathetic. She will never survive the trials. Lyra lowered her head. She wanted to disappear, to melt into the silver sands of the arena. For years she had dreamed of this moment, trained her body, sharpened her mind, and yet here she was, rejected, alone. She turned to leave, but something stopped her. A voice calm and clear cut through the murmurs. Will you be my mate? The words came from a young human standing at the edge of the arena. His uniform was simple, but his eyes were steady. He looked at Lyra as if he saw something no one else did. The crowd froze. The council blinked. Even Lyra could not speak. Her mind raced. Did he mean it? Why would a human, a stranger, choose her when no one else would? You mean me? She whispered, almost afraid to hope. Yes, the human said simply. I choose you. Laughter erupted from the audience. Some aliens shook their heads in disbelief. The human is crazy, someone muttered. Others whispered, she's unworthy. Why would he ask her? Lyra's heart raced, a mix of fear and curiosity. She had never been noticed, never been seen as more than weak or broken. But now someone saw her. She wanted to run, to hide, yet part of her wanted to step closer. The human, whose name was Evan, did not falter. He stood tall, though he was smaller than the council members and weaker in body. I see your strength, he said, his voice soft but full of certainty. I see what others cannot. Lyra looked around, unsure what to do. The whispers of the crowd pressed against her like heavy chains. But Evan's gaze felt like a shield, warm and steady. For the first time in her life, someone believed in her. The council cleared its throat. Human, this is not your place. Step aside. Evan shook his head. No, she belongs here. And I choose her. The alien girl felt something stir inside her, a spark she had buried long ago. Fear mixed with excitement, doubt with hope. She could feel her heart beating faster than ever before. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as weak as everyone thought. As she looked at Evan, her mind whispered a question she had never dared to ask herself. Could it be possible that someone like him could see someone like me? The arena fell silent. All eyes on the rejected alien girl and the human who dared to choose her. Lyra took a shaky breath. Something had changed. Her story, and her life, was about to begin. The crowd on planet Viridia buzzed with whispers, some mocking, some in disbelief. Lyra stood frozen, unsure whether to step back or forward. Her chest still ached from rejection, and now suddenly all eyes were on her again. But this time it was because of Evan, the human who had dared to choose her. The council glared at him. Human! The leader's voice was sharp, almost like lightning. This is not your place. Only the strongest aliens are worthy of the alliance. She is not ready. She is not chosen. Evan's jaw tightened. He stepped closer to Lyra, his gaze steady. I see her strength, he said calmly, though his voice carried a firmness that made the council pause. You only see her weakness. I see something else, courage, intelligence, a fire you refuse to notice. The crowd murmured again. Some aliens shook their heads, saying, He is foolish. No human understands us. He is risking everything. Others, quieter, began to wonder, could this human see something true, something they had ignored? Lyra's mind whirled. She had spent years hiding her dreams. Every training session, every attempt at running faster or jumping higher, had ended in failure or ridicule. And now, this human, someone from another world, believed in her. She wanted to run away, to hide from all the eyes, yet something inside her wanted to believe him. I don't know if I can, she whispered, unsure if she meant her words for Evan or for herself. Evan shook his head gently. You can. You are stronger than you think. Let me help you show it, the council snorted. Help her? Do you even know what you are doing? This girl is fragile, a burden. Choosing her will shame you and your kind. Evan ignored them. He knelt slightly, just enough to be level with Lyra. I don't care what they think. I see what she can become. You see her as broken, but I see her as a star. And stars shine the brightest when no one believes in them. Lyra's heart skipped. His words felt like a warm hand on a cold day. She had never heard anyone talk to her like that. No one had ever seen her for more than her limp, her small size, her failures. But Evan saw her. For a long moment, neither of them moved. The council's anger was thick in the air, the whispers of the crowd like a tide pressing on her chest. Finally, Lyra took a trembling step forward. Her eyes met Evan's. She still feared failure, but hope was blooming inside her. If you truly believe in me, then I will try, she said softly. Evan smiled, a small but confident smile. That's all I ask. One step at a time. Together we will show them who you really are. The crowd gasped. A human standing beside a rejected alien girl, daring to challenge the council. It was unheard of. Some began to cheer quietly, sensing the courage in their defiance. Others shook their heads, muttering that disaster would come. Lyra looked down at her twisted leg, then at Evan. But what if I fail? What if I can't live up to your belief? Evan reached out and gently lifted her chin, making her meet his gaze. Then I will still stand by you. Because strength is not just what you can do. Strength is knowing someone believes in you even when you don't believe in yourself. Her heart pounded. She had never felt such trust. It was frightening, yes, but also thrilling. For the first time, she imagined a life where she wasn't defined by her weakness, a life where she could rise above the whispers, above the ridicule. The council member stepped forward, anger in his eyes. Enough. This is a violation of the selection ceremony. You will be removed from this arena, both of you, before you bring shame on us all. Evan didn't flinch. He took Lyra's hand and squeezed it lightly. No, she is ready. You just cannot see it yet. Lyra felt a strange courage stir inside her. For the first time in her life, she did not want to hide. She did not want to run. With Evan beside her, she felt unstoppable. The whispers of the crowd changed slightly. Some began to murmur in awe, not fear, as if they too could sense the spark of something extraordinary between the human and the rejected alien girl. And in that moment, Lyra realized something powerful. Being chosen wasn't just about strength or skill. It was about someone daring to believe in her when no one else would. The selection ceremony ended, but the story was just beginning. And as Lyra and Evan stood side by side, the seeds of an impossible bond were planted, a bond that could change not only her life, but the fate of worlds. The day after the selection ceremony, Lyra woke early. The silver light of Viridia's twin suns spilled across the horizon, glinting on the crystalline towers of the city. She felt nervous and unsure. For years she had been mocked, ignored, and left behind. Now, a human had chosen her, a stranger who saw something she had never seen in herself. Evan was waiting outside the training hall. His dark hair glinted in the sunlight, and his eyes held that same quiet determination that had shaken the council. Are you ready? He asked. Lyra swallowed hard. I will try, she said. Evan nodded. Good, that's all I ask for now. Inside the hall, the air was cool and metallic. Advanced training equipment filled the room. Gravity chambers, obstacle courses, and holographic opponents that could simulate real combat. Lyra's heart pounded as she stared at it all. She had trained before, but nothing like this. Nothing like Evan's world. Evan stepped closer. We'll start slow. You have a leg injury, yes? That doesn't make you weak. It just means we need a different approach. Lyra blinked. Different approach? Yes, he said, adjusting a small mechanical device on her ankle. I've brought some technology from my world. It will help you move faster and support your leg. You will feel some strain, but you can do this. Lyra hesitated, glancing at the other aliens in the hall. Some were watching from the observation deck, curious or perhaps skeptical, but Evan's steady gaze gave her courage. She nodded. Okay, let's try. The first steps were hard. Her new mechanical leg felt strange, heavy yet alive. Every movement required balance she had never known before. She stumbled, almost fell, but Evan caught her gently. Focus on your mind, not just your body, he said. Your strength comes from inside. Day after day they trained. Evan taught her techniques that combined human agility with alien power. They practiced running through obstacle courses, dodging attacks from holographic enemies and learning to channel energy through her body. Slowly, Lyra began to feel a change. Her leg moved more easily, her mind worked faster, and her body responded with a strength she had never imagined. But it wasn't easy. The other aliens whispered and laughed at first. Why does the human waste his time? They asked. She will fail. It is obvious. Lyra heard them, but she no longer felt small. Evan's faith in her became a shield against their mockery. One evening, after hours of training, Lyra collapsed onto a metal bench, exhausted. Sweat dripped from her brow and her breathing was heavy. I can't do it, she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. I'm just not like the others. Evan sat beside her and placed a hand on her shoulder. Listen to me, Lyra. Being like the others doesn't matter. They measure strength by appearances and speed, but true strength is something they will never understand. It's heart, courage, and the will to rise after every fall. You have all of that. Lyra looked at him, her eyes wide. She wanted to believe him, but fear still clung to her like shadows in the night. But what if I fail in front of everyone? Evan smiled softly. Then I will be there, and I will help you rise. I don't care what anyone else thinks. You are not just another alien in their eyes. You are the one I see, and that is enough. Something stirred in Lyra's chest. A spark she had buried for years began to burn. Maybe she could be more than everyone had told her. Maybe she could surprise even herself. As the sun set over Viridia, casting long silver shadows across the training hall, Lyra stood again. Her legs shook, her body ached, but her eyes held a fire that had never been there before. She looked at Evan. I will keep trying, she said firmly. Evan nodded. And I will be with you every step. Together we will show them who you really are. Outside the hall, the whispers of the crowd grew louder. Some aliens had begun to watch closely, curiosity replacing mockery. They could sense that something unusual was happening, something powerful. Lyra didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning. Every step, every lesson, every challenge with Evan was shaping her into someone no one would ever ignore again. And the galaxy was about to see that even the most rejected, overlooked being could become unstoppable when someone believed in her. The storm came without warning. Dark clouds swirled over the horizon of Viridia, lightning crackling across the purple sky. The usual calm of the training zone was gone, replaced by howling winds and the sharp scent of ozone. Lyra and Evan were in the outer training fields practicing with holographic enemies when the alarm sounded. Storm warning. A voice boomed over the speakers. All personnel must evacuate immediately. Lyra hesitated. Her mechanical leg gave her balance, but the mud and rocks underfoot made every step dangerous. We should go, she shouted over the wind. Evan grabbed her hand firmly. Stay close. We'll find shelter. As they ran, the storm worsened. Lightning hit nearby towers, sending sparks into the sky. Then out of the shadows a creature appeared. Massive, covered in scales that reflected the storm's light. It roared, a sound so deep it shook the ground. The holographic enemies were nothing compared to this. The beast was real. Lyra froze, fear gripping her heart. She had never faced anything like this. Her training had prepared her for simulations, for controlled challenges, not a living, roaring monster that could crush them in an instant. Move, Evan shouted. You can do this, Lyra. Trust yourself. She swallowed hard, her body trembling. She could feel her heart pounding like a drum, her breath sharp in her chest. For a moment she thought she would collapse, but then something strange happened. Her body began to glow faintly, a soft silver light that pulsed from her chest and legs. Her fear didn't vanish, but it felt different, powerful. The pain in her leg, the weakness she had always felt, started to fade, replaced by a surge of energy she had never known. Evan stepped back, eyes wide. "Lyra, your core," he shouted. "It's activating." Lyra didn't understand. She had no control over it, yet her body moved instinctively. She leapt forward faster than she thought possible. Her mechanical legs seemed to vanish under her speed. She dodged the beast's claws and countered with a beam of light that shot from her hands. The creature howled, retreating for a moment, surprised by the attack. You're amazing," Evan yelled. "Keep going." Lyra's fear turned into focus. Every step, every movement felt effortless. The energy inside her responded to her emotions, her anger, her determination, her desire to protect Evan. With a deep breath, she directed the glow into a concentrated pulse. The light hit the creature, knocking it back. Sparks flew and the beast roared in pain before disappearing into the storm. For a moment, silence fell. The wind howled, but the danger was gone. Lyra collapsed onto the ground, her body trembling from exhaustion. Her glow faded, leaving her pale and weak but alive. Evan rushed to her side, helping her sit up. You did it," he said, awe in his voice. "You saved us." Lyra shook her head. I don't know how. It just happened." Evan smiled gently, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. "It wasn't just luck. That power, it's always been inside you. You've been hiding it, even from yourself. That storm, that fear, it brought it out." Lyra's chest heaved. She had always thought her leg, her body made her weak. But now she realized the truth. Her weakness had been protecting something incredible. A power no one had ever seen, a strength no one could ignore. Suddenly, the distant hum of Viridia's sensors alerted them to the Council's attention. "Storm containment units have detected unusual energy surges," one voice said. "Who activated them?" Evan looked at Lyra. "That's our secret for now. You have to learn to control it before anyone else can use it against you." Lyra nodded, her fear replaced with determination. She had survived the storm. She had faced something terrifying and discovered her hidden strength. But more than that, she realized she was no longer the rejected alien girl. She was something more, powerful, capable, and unstoppable. As the storm began to fade and the twin suns of Viridia peeked through the clouds, Lyra and Evan made their way back to the base. Every step was lighter, every breath filled with purpose. The Council might still doubt her, and the world might still see her as weak. But now Lyra knew a truth they could not see. True power comes not from the body alone, but from the courage to rise when everyone else doubts you. And this was only the beginning. Back at the towering council hall, the air was tense. The elders of Viridia's Interworld Alliance sat in their high chairs, their silver armor glinting under the bright lights. Whispers of the storm and the strange energy surge had already reached them. Every member of the council knew something unusual had happened, and they were furious. "This is unacceptable," the council leader said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "An untested alien girl with a human's interference has unleashed energy surges that could have destroyed this planet. Who allowed this?" Lyra stood in the center of the hall, her silver skin faintly glowing even after the storm. She tried to remain calm, but fear coiled in her stomach. The council's eyes were sharp and unforgiving. She had faced rejection before, but this felt different. This time the punishment could be real, perhaps even exile. Evan stood beside her, unwavering. "I did," he said quietly but firmly. "She is ready. Her power is controlled and she saved lives." The council snorted, exchanging skeptical glances. "You are blind, human. You do not understand Viridia. This girl is unstable. One misstep and countless lives could be lost. You are putting the entire alliance at risk." Lyra's heart thumped. She felt smaller than ever, even though she knew the truth. She had felt the power rise inside her, had seen herself act without fear, and she knew she could control it. But convincing the council? That seemed impossible. One elder, older than the rest, leaned forward. "Lyra," he said in a cold, deliberate tone, "your actions today prove you are dangerous. We will not risk the future on an untested child. Effective immediately, you will be quarantined until the council decides your fate. The human may not interfere further." Evan's eyes narrowed. "No, I will not leave her side." "Then you will both face punishment," the council leader snapped. "The human interference is a violation of our laws. You endanger not only yourself but the entire alliance. Lyra felt a mix of fear and anger. For years she had hidden, pretending to be weak so no one would notice her flaws. But now she had shown her strength and they saw it as a threat. I'm not dangerous, she said quietly, her voice shaking. I only wanted to help. The council ignored her, discussing rules and punishments in harsh, clipped tones. They could not see what Evan saw, the courage, the intelligence, and the fire that burned inside her. They only saw her weakness, the twisted leg, the fact that she was different. Evan placed a hand on her shoulder. Don't let them scare you, he whispered. They don't understand you. I do. For the first time, Lyra felt a surge of confidence. The council could threaten and scold, but Evan's trust gave her something stronger than fear. Hope. She straightened her back, her violet eyes meeting the leader's cold gaze. I will not hide. I will not run, she said. You can lock me up, you can punish me, but you cannot take away what I am. The council murmured, shocked at her audacity. A human standing beside a rejected alien girl, defying their authority. It was unthinkable. After hours of debate, the council made their decision. Lyra would be confined, and Evan was ordered to leave her side. But as they led her away, Lyra's mind was already racing. She had survived storms, beasts, and doubt. Now she had to survive their politics, their fear, and their misunderstanding. Evan lingered at the door, meeting her gaze. I will find a way, he said. I will not let them control your life. You are too important, not just to me, but to the universe. Lyra's heart clenched. She trusted him completely, more than anyone had ever trusted her. His words gave her strength, even in captivity. The council could try to control her, but they could not break her spirit. In her cell, Lyra sat on the cold metal floor, thinking about what Evan had said. Her power had emerged in the storm, showing her something she had never believed possible. And now, with the council trying to suppress her, she realized that control was more than just about her body. It was about her mind, her will, and her courage. And she had all of that. The sun began to set outside the council hall, painting the city in deep shades of silver and purple. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. She was trapped, yes, but not defeated. Every obstacle, every council member, every skeptical alien was now part of the path she had to overcome. And with Evan's belief behind her, she knew she could rise above them all. The galaxy might doubt her. The council might fear her. But Lyra understood something they could not. True power cannot be locked away, and the adventure was far from over. The alarm sirens blared across Viridia. Smoke curled into the violet sky, and the once bustling city streets were filled with chaos. A dark fleet of invaders had arrived, their black ships blotting out the twin suns. The council's armies scrambled, unprepared for the attack, and panic spread like wildfire. Lyra was still confined in her cell when the first reports came through. She pressed her hands against the cold metal walls, her chest tightening. They need me, and I can't move. Fear surged, but deep inside another feeling grew. Determination. Evan burst into the chamber moments later, ignoring the guards. We don't have time, he shouted. Lyra, we have to leave now. If we stay, thousands will die. Lyra hesitated. She had been trained, yes, but only with Evan. Alone, she was still inexperienced, still learning control over her power. And yet, the look in Evan's eyes gave her courage. He didn't see weakness. He saw her potential, her strength, her heart. I trust you, he said simply, his hand extended toward her. Will you trust me? Lyra's violet eyes met his. In that moment, she realized trust was more than a word. It was a bond, a choice, a promise. I trust you, she whispered. Evan helped her out of the cell, and together they ran toward the city's edge. The alien soldiers were overwhelmed, their weapons ineffective against the invaders' advanced technology. Explosions shook the ground, and civilians fled in every direction. Lyra felt the familiar stir of energy within her, the same power that had emerged during the storm. It pulsed, alive and responsive, waiting for her command. Her heart pounded not with fear, but with purpose. She could feel Evan's presence grounding her, guiding her. She didn't need to fight alone. The first wave of invaders descended. Their black exosuits gleamed under the suns as they aimed their weapons at civilians. Lyra stepped forward, hands glowing with silver light. With a deep breath, she unleashed a pulse that sent them staggering back, their suits sparking and cracking under the energy. Evan moved beside her, using his agility to take down those who advanced too close. Keep moving. Trust your power, he shouted. Lyra's confidence grew with every step. Her attacks became precise, controlled, yet powerful enough to scatter groups of invaders. She dodged their beams, leapt over rubble, and directed her energy with a clarity she had never known before. The bond between her and Evan was unspoken but complete. He guided, she executed, and together they moved like a single force. Suddenly, a massive enemy mech appeared, larger than any Lyra had seen. Its black armor shimmered under the suns and its weapons aimed directly at Evan. He froze for a moment, caught in the open. Without thinking, Lyra surged forward, channeling every ounce of energy into her legs. Her mechanical leg amplified the power, and in a flash of silver light she slammed her hands onto the mech. The explosion rocked the ground, sending debris flying. The mech collapsed, sparks scattering across the battlefield. Evan staggered, coughing, but he smiled at her, pride and relief shining in his eyes. "You did it. You saved me," he yelled over the chaos. Lyra shook her head, laughing despite the danger. "No, we did it, together." The council soldiers began to regroup, inspired by the duo. Lyra's power, guided by trust, became a symbol of hope. The invaders faltered, unable to predict the speed and coordination of the human and the alien girl. Every strike Lyra delivered, every move Evan executed, showed that courage and trust could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. As the battle raged, Lyra realized something profound. Her strength wasn't just in her power. It was in her heart, her mind, and her bond with Evan. Together they could face anything. The galaxy might have doubted her, the council might have feared her, but here in the chaos of battle she had proven her worth. Finally, after hours of fighting, the invaders began to retreat. Smoke and dust hung in the air and the streets were scarred, but the people of Viridia cheered. Lyra stood, exhausted but radiant, her violet eyes shining with energy. Evan approached, taking her hand gently. "You see?" he said softly. "I told you. Trust changes everything." Lyra nodded, feeling the truth of his words resonate in her soul. She had learned to trust not just him but herself. And with that trust, she knew there was no limit to what they could face together. For the first time, she felt powerful, capable, and unstoppable. The battle had ended, but her journey was far from over. The smoke cleared, leaving Viridia's city scarred but standing. Streets that had been filled with chaos now echoed with silence, broken only by the whispers of survivors. Lyra and Evan stood at the center of the battlefield, hands still joined, energy from her power faintly glowing around her. The invaders had fled, their ships retreating into the dark void of space. The council, once so cold and unforgiving, approached cautiously, their armored steps hesitant. They had witnessed something no one could ignore. The human and the rejected alien girl had turned the tide of battle. The council leader, his eyes narrowing, spoke first. "Lyra, what is this? How did you wield such power?" Lyra, still catching her breath, lifted her chin. "I didn't do it alone," she said. "Evan believed in me. He trusted me when no one else would, and I trusted him." A murmur spread through the council chamber. Some members looked doubtful, others astonished. Never before had a human's belief and an alien's courage combined to produce such strength. The council was silent for a long moment, as if weighing their next words carefully. Finally, the eldest member stepped forward. His silver armor gleamed in the light, his voice calm but heavy with respect. "Lyra and Evan, you have shown something that none of us could see before. Not just power, but heart, wisdom, courage, and unity." Lyra's heart pounded. She had spent years feeling weak, invisible, unwanted, and now the council recognized her. But it felt different from what she had imagined. This acknowledgement wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about accepting herself. The council leader raised his hands. "We, the Interworld Alliance, recognize Lyra as the Starborn, one whose power and courage surpass expectation. She is no longer rejected. She is chosen." A cheer rose from the soldiers and citizens who had gathered. Even some of the skeptical aliens who had mocked her earlier now bowed slightly, their expressions humbled. Lyra felt a warmth bloom in her chest. She had been overlooked, dismissed, and cast aside, yet here she stood, recognized for who she truly was. Evan squeezed her hand, smiling. "You see? I told you. You were always meant for more." Lyra's eyes shimmered with tears, not from sadness but from relief and joy. I never thought I could be someone like this." she whispered. You were always someone like this, Evan said. You just needed someone to help you see it. For the first time, Lyra felt truly free. The council could no longer define her. The world could no longer label her weak. She was strong. Not just because of her powers, but because of her heart and courage. And she had chosen someone who believed in her as much as she believed in herself. The crowd parted as the council stepped aside, and Lyra walked forward with Evan at her side. She lifted her hand and a faint glow radiated from her energy core, lighting the faces of those around her. The light wasn't threatening or blinding. It was beautiful, calm, and full of promise. It was a symbol of hope for Viridia, and for every world that would hear of her story. The council leader nodded solemnly. Lyra, you have proven that strength is not only in the body but in the courage to rise when everyone else doubts you. You are the chosen protector of our world and a beacon for the galaxy. Lyra looked at Evan, who nodded back, proud and unwavering. Together they turned their eyes to the horizon, where the twin suns dipped low, painting the skies in shades of silver and purple. Lyra realized that being chosen was not just about being strong or powerful. It was about being seen, being trusted, and believing in herself. Thank you, she whispered softly, to Evan, to herself, to the universe. Evan smiled, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. No, thank you for letting me believe in you. As the crowd cheered and the citizens celebrated, Lyra felt a calm strength fill her. She had been the rejected alien girl, overlooked and underestimated. Now she was something more, a hero, a starborn, a chosen one. And with Evan by her side, she knew the galaxy held endless possibilities. For the first time, Lyra truly understood. Sometimes being chosen doesn't come from others. It comes from finding someone who believes in you, and then believing in yourself. And with that belief, there was nothing she couldn't face.